Today on Metcast, it's all about Christian Scott. What are scouts saying about him? What is his potential? And could he eventually be the ace of our New York Mets? What is going on, Met fans? I know we are all ecstatic about the young stud, 24-year-old Christian Scott coming out of Florida. There's some pros and cons when we look at him as a pitcher in this New York Mets organization. Currently, he stands at the number 5 ranked prospect in this organization, according to MLB.com. His ETA was this year. Most scouts thought that he was going to be coming up probably in the second half of the season, but the Mets, as we know, have been littered with all sorts of injuries. Who knows when Senga's coming back? Supposedly he's on his way back from rehab, but today's video is all about Christian Scott. Let's break down what scouts rate him on the 80 scale and where they see him in this organization going forward. First off, he has a plus fastball, as we all know, a 60 grade scale. While he was in Double-A last year, he sat between 93 and 95, was dialing it to 97 at times, and even a couple of times hit 99 on the radar while in Binghamton, and that's why scouts obviously are raving about him. It's not only the velocity on his fastball, but we heard it time and time again on the prior broadcast during his MLB debut. He is a live fastball. It has a tail to it. It seems like it's rising, and that's why you may see guys like the Japanese pitcher we brought in this past offseason that throws 100 miles an hour but gets teed off on. He has that late live movement on his fastball, which is a game changer. And then to supplement that, he is above average 55 grade scales on his changeup and his slider, which puts even a bigger emphasis on his fastball control. And that's where it comes in. A staggering 65 grade on his control. We saw it during his first start. They were teeing off in the first inning because one thing that Christian Scott does not do, he does not walk batters. He is a strike throwing machine. And at the MLB level, he's going to have to learn to get guys to chase on that ball outside of the zone, especially that slider that looked so electric during that first start and what we saw in the minors. One thing that I was looking forward to, I was reading a couple of articles these past couple of days. John Harper had this to say about Scott. Scott didn't so much as finish escaping the inning with a strikeout and a double play groundout, as we all saw. And therefore, he pretty much dominated the Rays over 6 2/3 innings, as we all saw. I was hoping he would get the 7 innings pitch, but he got yanked, and he goes on to say this: allowing no more runs while making it almost look as Jacob deGrom like at ease at a time. He's saying that his motion is smooth and fluid. If I was going to compare Scott to any former Met, I think he's more of a Zach Wheeler type, that short, compact motion, not too much movement. DeGrom always came down, had a little rock to his motion, very smooth, but I would compare his mechanics to Zach Wheeler, and that's actually my pro comp for Christian Scott. So let's recap really quick. If he is going to develop into an ace-type pitcher, which I have him, I always had him as a high-end number 2, probably a third starter at the major league level, but he could potentially be a number 1. We can't remember, this is pretty much his age 25 season. We're not talking about a 21-year-old pitcher coming up. This is kind of what he is going to be. Can the Mets pitching labs kind of help him maybe tick up his miles per hour 1, maybe 2 miles per hour, which could absolutely change his trajectory this season into being an ace type starter? But as of right now, I have him as a high-end number 2. The scouts at the minor league level appear to be all over the place. I've seen back-end starter. He's got a lot of control, but he needs to work on his secondary pitches. And then you see other scouts say that he could be an ace potential ace of a rotation. And that's something as Met fans we need to be excited about. We'll be locked in this Saturday as they take on the Atlanta Braves, because if Christian Scott is able to elevate his game and be a top of the end rotation starter with Senga, that is going to potentially completely change our offseason plans this year. But let's stick to this season. I know we are all stoked for this Saturday start. Hopefully he could shut down the Braves. I know all eyes will absolutely be on him, including my own. Let me know what you think Christian Scott's potential is down in the comments below. I will be really interesting to see what other Met fans think about him. And I'll be sure to do a recap video coming up right after his start. As always, let's go Mets.